Hey, I'm Doc Steph. Welcome and thank you for tuning in to episode 7 of Let's Heal Together. Today, I will be talking about motivation is loud. So, let's get started. Do you ever wake up in the morning and the last thing you want to do is get out of bed? How about the mornings when you wake up, hop out of bed, ready to take on the world? What's the difference between those two scenarios? Motivation. Motivation is what compels us to set goals and, more importantly, drives us towards them. If you want to know how to tap into the power of motivation, then keep listening. It can be hard to stay motivated because sometimes we get excited about a project and then enthusiasm begins to fade away. As a result, we tend to put that project or goal on the shelf, and some of us do not pick it up again. When we may even get a spark or a trigger that lead us back to that dream, that goal, or that project. Sometimes we just need a push, that motivation, to get us out of our comfort zone. So, I believe there's a difference between quiet motivation and loud motivation. For example, quiet motivation can be bad because we are contemplating an idea but do not move on it. You know, the idea that is burning and pressing on the inside of us, but we do not act on it or nurture it. Then we get so busy that it gets pushed even further within us until it is no longer a thought. That's when it's time for meditation and loud motivation to recharge our battery and bring that idea back to the forefront of our minds. So, we must find ways to recharge our batteries, recuperate, and realign our lives to make room for that idea. Loud motivation gets us pumped up for the next steps and challenges us. That's right, time for some action. You know, I remember a co-worker friend that wanted to do something different. She sort of created a bucket list. She was in a rut and thought she needed a rush to get her blood pumping. So she told me she wanted to go bungee jumping. No way. She said, "Yep, go with me, please." Being a friend, I went with her in spite of the fact that we both were scared. I stayed on the ground with her sons as we stood and watched her go get in line to be the next person to drop and dangle from a cord. I was nervously praying. My heart was beating fast, and her kids were silently watching with their mouths open. When she jumped, I screamed because I thought she was going to hit something, a pole or the ground, just something. Then I noticed she had a smile on her face and her eyes closed. The kids started cheering in excitement that their mom did it, but only when they saw she was safe. I think I was in shock because I could not say a word once she made it back to us. She had this smile of confidence on her face as she walked toward us. I'm thinking, what could conceivably be the point of doing such a thing, and for what? If it is balanced with the risk of life and limb, what purpose could it serve? Now, I am not that brave to bungee jump, but I do want to try zip lining. But it's at the bottom of my list, my bucket list, you know. The world of motivation is full of all kinds of stuff. So the point of the story is that my friend was stuck in a rut and wanted some motivation to feel alive again. Bungee jumping was one of the ways she came up with to get that oomph. Of course, it was very extreme, but it was her way to relieve herself of the tremendous pressure to perform. In a way, she took a break from the pressure to find some motivation. But the truth be told, it was the pressure that motivated her to do something she only thought about Yeah, putting that idea into action. By the way, I need to make this public service announcement. I am not suggesting that anyone try bungee jumping. So, are you starting to get the idea how motivation is loud? Think of how she had to pump herself up to reach this goal or achievement. That same energy and hype is what it takes for you to be motivated to reach your goals. Although you may not clap your hands or stomp your feet, but motivation will be written all over your facial expressions and that pumping that's going on your insides. Motivation is energy. Okay? So, the number one principle of her motivation or change was because of pain. The pain of staying the same became greater than the pain of changing. So it caused her to change. So, what's the difference between having little or no motivation and lots of motivation? Energy. There are times I absolutely have no energy to do anything. That is when quiet motivation comes in. I do nothing. Sometimes my quiet motivation is because I physically do not have any energy to do. So I go to the doctor and get a B12 shot. Other times, I'm just not motivated, and I take time out to give my mind a rest so that my body can rest, while at the same time feeling miserable that I'm not productive. However, I have learned that it is best to have quiet motivation until it's time to be loud. For instance, during those times, if I attempt to open my laptop and push myself to produce, nothing happens. My mind wanders off. I am not able to focus and not one thought comes to mind. But when I listen to my body and my mind, I literally take time out from everything. Anything that does not require thinking. I may sit back and binge watch something on TV or enjoy family and friends, go for a drive and hang outdoors. It is refreshing. When it is time to get back to it or grind, I'm at my best. That is what I found that works for me. I cannot motivate you because you are already motivated. The only thing I can do is attempt to channel your energies towards your goals by providing some tips that may tap into your energy. Okay? So let's do this. Tip number 1, know what you want. What is the point of motivation if you don't know what you want? Without having a clear vision of exactly what you desire, you won't be able to build up enough motivation to get through the obstacles you are sure to face. I read an article in Forbes by Kathy Caprino, and she listed 3 things that may help you or me with this. Okay? A, understand that thoughts become things. What we think and believe will bring into being what appears in our lives. If you think you cannot have a great job that you love that also makes a great living, then you will have exactly what you think, a lousy job you do not like that does not earn enough money. So let's change that. Start monitoring your thoughts very carefully. Choose to think more positively and powerfully about what your future can hold and what you are capable of. Change your thoughts and beliefs so that they align with your most positive dreams and visions. Then take brave, concrete action that supports those visions. Okay? So B, don't buy into our society's misguided myths about work. There are so many misguided beliefs that are also persuasive and powerful. Millions of people have bought into the myth that you cannot love your work and make a great living at it. If you choose to believe that your passions, talents, gifts, and abilities cannot be used in service of the world in a lucrative way, then there's no hope for a happier career. Don't believe the hype. Figure out what your special, unique talents are and find new ways to use them to earn money. As we commit to leveraging our gifts to help others, we are able to overcome the guilt, fear, and shame that society has taught us to feel about boldly and proudly monetizing what we love to do. There are so many more pathways to happy, rewarding work than we are led to believe in our world today. And finally, C, get in a cage with your fears and come out the other side braver. So fear is what keeps us from pursuing what we want. Let's just face it, it's the truth. Fear of all kinds. Fear of embarrassment, fear of failure, fear of what people will think, of fear of not having what it takes, fear of money, fear of losing everything, and even fear of success. That's one of mine, It's like, suppose I become successful, then what? What's the next step? So basically, it's the fear of the unknown when we have fear of success. So take some time today to outline everything you fear about making a significant change in your life. That's how I pinpoint what exactly was my fear. Then look closely at the root of your fears. You will most likely see how unfounded they are. Whatever the root cause, there is a powerful and positive lesson you are meant to learn. And it sure is not that you are not smart, strong, talented, or committed enough to create what you want. Make this the year you finally realize what you're capable of and go out and prove it. Okay? Tip number 2, know why you want it. This step is just as important as knowing what you want. Why do you want to reach specific goals? What will it mean to your life? Think about all the people in your life that you don't want to let down. These are the whys, and they are essential. So keep in mind, motivation, principle number 2, people do things for their own reasons, not for yours and not for mine. What is your why? You can start by taking a deeply personal look at how you define success. So how do you define the success? So your full potential is not a destination. It is a path. It is a journey of liberation from your own limitations and the limitations that others put on you. Reaching your full potential takes patience, courage, self-awareness, and a whole lot of grit. It is a balance of being productive and enjoying each moment. Grant Cardone says there are 4 things you can do to reach your full potential. A, write down your goals. Doing this, they keep you focused on what is next, and writing them down keep you on track. Don't let anybody tell you what your goals should be. B, choose things just out of reach. That's a good one. Don't just think about what is realistic, because it may be based on what others think is possible. They do not know your potential. Keep that in mind. And C, take massive action. Never do anything normal. Take massive action until one day it is no longer an unusual activity, but a habit for you. And last, D, stay persistent. The ability to persist on your path regardless of setbacks, unexpected events, bad news, and resistance, to continue firmly in your purpose in spite of conditions. It is a trait common to those who make it. Reaching your potential requires you to be persistent. There are no quitters here, right? Okay, so let's move on to tip number 3. Set goals that excite you. It's beneficial to set reasonable goals that are easy to reach. I would never suggest stopping that, However, it can also help to set relatively wild or audacious goals. These goals might seem out of reach right now, but the allure of reaching them in the future might motivate you in the present. It may take you a bit out of your comfort zone, yet it continues to excite you and motivate you to attempt new and different things. There's nothing wrong with doing something new. If your goals don't excite you, it's unlikely that you won't follow through and make them a reality. So Joe Vitale said, a goal should scare you a little and excite you a lot. A lot. When you set big goals that are outside of your comfort zone, it raises the bar and motivates you to work hard to achieve them. And here's some reasons why setting goals should excite you. A, it gives you a sense of direction. Taking time to think about what you want in life gives you a sense of purpose. Okay, so A, purpose. B, it helps to see the bigger picture. Okay, taking a step back and get some perspective on what is really important in life for you, you will create a life full of meaning. So B, meaning. C, it provides motivation. It gives you something to aspire to and motivates you to put your best foot forward. Having a clear vision of what you are aiming to achieve provides inspiration. Therefore, inspiration plus wait a minute, let me start again. Aspiration, because I'm trying to give you a formula. I don't want to mess this up. So listen. Aspiration plus inspiration equals motivation. Got it? And finally, D. It gives you greater control of your future. So you are in the driver's seat of your life. You are actively acknowledging what you want out of life. All right, moving on to tip number 4, track and measure your results. Tracking, and measuring your progress is key to motivation. When you can actually see your efforts paying off, your motivation will naturally rise. If you don't track and measure, how else would you know if you're making progress? So measuring your progress lets you see whether you have made a dent or at a standstill, or have fallen behind. The information is useful in helping you to make or adjust a plan of action for getting back on track. Your measurements act as your guide toward reaching your goal. They give you like a realistic big picture as to how you're doing along the way. So without any type of indicator, you may find yourself at a loss or thinking you're doing better than you really are, which can lead to disappointment and failure. So you can measure your goals by task or plan. Do this by setting up a daily, weekly, or even a monthly activity list of tasks you need to complete in order to reach your goal. Check off each activity as it is done, and you can easily see if you're on track. Number 5, reward yourself or use your social circle. If you are tracking your progress, make sure you reward yourself as well. Rewarding yourself will ensure that you stay motivated. You are more likely to keep plugging away when you can see that reward getting closer and closer. Celebrate your milestones with someone trustworthy that will cheer you on. Knowing that someone is in your corner is also a powerful feeling. It can also, building accountability through your social circle is a great idea. When you have a big goal you want to achieve, let the people in your life know. Besides them being potentially helping you along the way, it will also make you more accountable. The funny thing is, we are more likely to let ourselves down more than our loved ones. My circle, they They listen to me, and when I feel like giving up, they encourage me to keep going. Yes, there are times I feel like giving up. I believe it is because I have lost sight of my why I am doing this. I often get discouraged, but my motivation is that the outcome outweigh the reasons for me to want to give up. If I can touch the heart of one listener, means more to me than everything I can think of to stop doing what I do. So, motivation is my inspiration. So, tip number 6, fake it. Not feeling motivated or energetic today? Try faking it. But keep in mind this tactic won't work all of the time, but it could help you get through a slow morning or two. You know, pump yourself up with some music, drink some coffee, jump around if you have to, anything to make yourself feel a bit more energetic. Yes, music is mine. Music is mine. Music is mine. Believe it or not, I did not listen to secular music for years, only gospel music. When I started working, with middle schoolers, all of that changed. I needed to know what they were listening to so I could join in with them during playtime. But what I noticed is that some of the secular music gave me energy and motivated me to enjoy the students. I also realized that gospel music kept me calm and relaxed, which is good during chaos and emergencies. Either way, music is a win-win for me. This has become a habit for me. When I need some extra energy, I put on some good upbeat music. Tip number 7, take action. Have you ever sat down to work and just couldn't get started? Sometimes all it takes to give your motivation a little boost is to accomplish one simple task. It doesn't have to be anything big or out there, but just a simple task. Pick the single most straightforward thing you can do toward any of your goals and do it. Most likely, this will motivate you to take on the next challenge. One action item begets another action, and so on and so on. Another thing you could do is keep a visual reminder of your goals in front of you. When you see it sitting in front of your face, it may motivate you to take action. Action strengthens you. It grows you, make you smarter, you learn more, you self-correct as you move along, you improve and become better. Action increases your confidence and leads to more action. So taking action gives birth to momentum. Did you get it? The higher a plane flies, the less power it uses and is able to fly stable for a long time to get to its destination faster. Taking action is the most important step towards success. The simple truth is that dreams, visions, and goals are achieved and accomplished only through action. Taking the first step is usually the hardest part of the journey. Start at a level where you are, then grow and increase your skill level and output over time. It's no rush. Don't rush through the process. And finally, number 8, find your inspiration. People get inspired by different things. If you want to maximize your motivation, then you need to figure out what inspires you. Maybe it's a specific type of music. Perhaps it's a view from your house. It could be a motivational speaker or celebrity. Find out what inspires you and schedule some time to immerse yourself into it each day. Sometimes seeing change as an opportunity or challenge rather than a setback, that type of thing. Practice visualizing by imagining what you want to achieve in your future, as if it were true today. It involves using all 5 senses of sight, smell, touch, taste, and hearing. The process of visualizing directs your subconscious to be aware of the end goal you have in mind. It reminds you on a consistent basis, and it trains your brain to respond as if that outcome were true in the present moment. Wow, that's awesome. So, here's your actionable steps. 1. Think about all your goals and desires. Now list why each is important to you. If you don't want to get overwhelmed, focus on one or two primary goals. Number 2, keep thinking about the goals from the last tip. Now, think about how you can reward yourself for hitting milestones along the way. When is a good time for a reward? What is a good reward? And number 3, find 2 or 3 things that truly inspire you. Maybe it's a TED Talk on YouTube, or maybe my podcast. It might be a music playlist you can put on whenever you need it, regardless of what it is. Find what inspires you and immerse yourself in it. Now we're here and we're at our reflection on loud motivation. So the first motivational quote I have is from Winston S. Churchill, who said, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." And our inspirational reflection on loud motivation, it's from Philippians chapter 2, verses 3 through 4. Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourself. Let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others. That brings us to the end of this episode. I want to leave you with principle number 3 of motivation, which is pride. A powerful motivator because it is tied to your self-esteem. Every accomplishment builds your confidence, and every time you do not complete something, it takes a piece of that confidence. So be loud on purpose, because motivation leads to elevation. Peace and blessings.